They're both bisexual. They do weird things in their house. And young men have left their house fucking screaming to get away from them in their mentorship. Meek Mills. Bashir Gray.
What if one secret tape could destroy the careers of Diddy, Will Smith, and drag some of the biggest names in Hollywood straight into the fire? Jaguar Wright didn't just walk into Diddy's trial. She came armed with tapes, testimony, and a rage that's been brewing for years. And now, she's exposing everything. From the so-called mentorship of a 17-year-old Bryce Shear to the alleged freakoffs that ended careers, broke souls, and left a once-rising star ruined.
None of this shit makes sense. What really does make sense is that Diddy has had a long career of using pussy to trap niggas into making them do what he wants to do or using them to move them out the way.
This isn't just about Diddy anymore. According to Jaguar, it's about the system that's protected him and the people who've helped cover it all up. And once you hear what she revealed in court, you might not look at Hollywood the same again. As Diddy's legal nightmare kicks off, the spotlight is where it's always been, on him. But Jaguar Wright is pushing that light a little wider. She's been shouting from the rooftops for years, but now she's inside the courtroom, right in the belly of the beast. She claims this trial is the crack in the dam, the opening that could shatter not just Diddy's empire, but blow the lid off Roc Nation, Clive Davis, and every puppet master behind the scenes.
This case that happened in the R. Kelly case, because if that had been properly addressed, this would have been addressed back then. These people have been working together, all in cahoots for all of this time, and it needs to all be addressed.
And her proof? Allegedly tucked inside a hard drive, full of receipts the world wasn't meant to see. Let's talk about Bryce Shear. Before the chaos, he was the golden boy of Empire, a star in the making. Young, gifted, and introduced to Diddy and Will Smith through what was supposed to be a mentorship. But what started as opportunity turned into something far darker, according to Jaguar. She says there was no real guidance, no career building, just manipulation, alleged parties behind closed doors, and a teen actor caught in the middle of men with power, money, and twisted intentions.
What's bothering me is that being a celebrity sometimes comes with, like, everybody wants to be successful in a celebrity and stuff like that, but it comes with, bullshit.
One of the tapes Jaguar claims to have submitted to prosecutors shows Bryce at 17 involved in freak-off behavior with Diddy. That tape, she says, should be enough to bring it all crashing down. But the horror doesn't stop there. Jaguar paints a picture of what she calls freak-off parties, disturbing gatherings that lasted for hours, sometimes days. One of the most alarming stories, Bryce and rapper Meek Mill allegedly running from Will Smith's house, naked and screaming, after an event that spiraled into something nightmarish.
Young men have left their house fucking screaming to get away from them in their mentorship. August the only one that stayed, and I guess he was really sick. He needed the help.
These weren't isolated incidents, according to her. Jaguar says young men were routinely turned out and passed around the industry under the guise of mentorship. She even connects it to Cassie's lawsuit, where she claimed some freak-offs went on for up to 4 straight days. The details may vary, but the pattern? It's chillingly familiar. Now, here's where it gets even more unsettling. Terrence Howard, Bryce's co-star on Empire, recently made cryptic comments about men in Hollywood.
A number of producers come in to make the approach, and you threaten to punch them in the mouth, or threaten to knock their head off for talking to you like, or looking at you like you're a woman. And when you approach a real man about his masculinity, you're going to get a real reaction back. It's a difference when a guy walks in a room and when a man walks into a room.
Giving up their manhood for power. Many believe he was talking about Bryce. And when you listen to him describe how you never get that back, you start to wonder what he saw behind the scenes. Jaguar agrees. She says Bryce didn't just lose roles, he lost his spirit, that once he left Diddy and Will's orbit, he was broken, barely functioning. And what followed next was even more tragic. Once hailed as a breakout star, Bryce's life took a nosedive. Domestic abuse allegations, SWAT team standoffs, mugshots that shocked fans who remembered the bright-eyed kid from TV. In 2022, he was arrested for assaulting a woman, but his run-ins with the law didn't start there.
They did not know that he was recording them. I mean, when I read through that lawsuit, Rodney made it very clear that he had hidden cameras. And if you are a person like LeBron who says ain't no party like a Diddy party, you've got Ashton Kutcher talking about what happens at Diddy parties stays at Diddy parties, and finally you learn.
Back in 2020, his wife, who the public didn't even know existed, was found begging for help at a gas station, telling police Bryce had strangled her. He refused to come out of the house when they arrived. The entire situation spiraled until he was finally taken into custody after hours of negotiation. This wasn't a one-off. This was a man in free fall. And according to Jaguar, it all traces back to what happened behind closed doors with Diddy and Will. Jaguar claims Bryce was gearing up for a $50 million lawsuit against Diddy and Will, a massive legal takedown.
I think it's getting a little too late for those who are complicit.
And some were doubting you. Did you ever question, like, am I on the right path?
I never question that. Still don't. Never will.
But just as things were gaining momentum, he backed out. Why? Alleged threats, fear for his life. Jaguar says he was silenced. And then came the rumor that made everything even darker. A secret tape, one involving Diddy, Will, Jaden, Justin Bieber, and Bryce Shear. A freakoff caught on video. A bombshell so massive that if it exists, it could not only destroy reputations, but possibly lead to arrests.
Been the devil for 30 years. He's been covered and protected by not only Clive Davis, but Lucian Grange.
Jaguar says she's seen it. She didn't say how she got it, but she claims it's real. The most heartbreaking twist? Jaguar says Bryce's own mother was in on it. Andrea Mayberry, a woman who Jaguar claims knowingly allowed her son to be turned out for fame. Jaguar doesn't hold back. She says Bryce was vulnerable, bipolar, ADHD, looking for support, and instead of protecting him, his mother teamed up with Charlie Mack to feed him to the wolves. Charlie, the man who first introduced Bryce to Diddy and Will, is now at the center of every accusation. The alleged pipeline, the fixer. And according to Jaguar, none of it could have happened without Bryce's mother giving the green light. Jaguar didn't just leak tapes. She showed up to court with bodyguards because, in her words, Diddy's people are watching. But she's not backing down. She says this case could be the domino that takes down Hollywood's darkest secrets. One trial could trigger a reckoning the music industry was never ready for. And she's not alone anymore. Between Cassie, Al B. Shore, and others stepping forward, it's clear the silence is cracking. The question now is, will Bryce testify? Will he reclaim his story and hold these giants accountable? Jaguar says this isn't about revenge, it's about justice, and she's not stopping until every name is exposed. While the world watches Diddy's trial unfold like a scandalous drama, there's something far more disturbing beneath the surface. How long this has been allowed to continue. Jaguar Wright says the silence wasn't just fear, it was calculated, protected, funded, and even rewarded. Bryce Shear, according to her, isn't the only victim. He's just one of many who got close enough to the truth and broke.
Also be charged. Jennifer Lopez should definitely be charged. Should I keep going?
You're hitting it off.
For every name that goes public, there are 5 others who never made it, who were pushed out, paid off, or ruined so badly they couldn't speak. And the industry, it just kept moving. Even the authorities, Jaguar claims, failed time and again. She says if the R. Kelly case had been properly investigated, they would have seen the patterns connecting back to Diddy and others in power. But it wasn't. And now, years later, the cost of that silence is written all over Bryce's shattered career and damaged life. Jaguar believes this isn't just about lawsuits or revenge. It's about exposing a system where silence is currency and truth is punishment. And now, with prosecutors finally listening, that silence might finally be cracking. So here we are, standing at the edge of a decades-long silence that's finally starting to shatter. Bryce Shear's story isn't just about one young actor's downfall. It's a warning, a signal flare for everything that's been hidden behind fame, money, and influence in Hollywood. And if Jaguar Wright is telling the truth, then the system that protected Diddy, Will Smith, and so many others might finally be cracking under the weight of its own secrets. This isn't just about freakoff tapes or a $50 million lawsuit. It's about the cost of silence, the careers lost, the mental health destroyed, the lives shattered, and the kids who never got a chance to grow up before they were pulled into something they never asked for. And now the world is watching. Will Bryce finally testify? Will the prosecutors act on the tapes? Or will this be another case of power protecting power while the victims are left behind? Let me know what you think in the comments. Is this the beginning of the end for Hollywood's dirtiest secrets? Or just another buried scandal waiting to be forgotten? Because this time it feels different. This time the silence is fighting back. And this is just the beginning.